America's 4 million acres of marshland and 3 million of water bottom offer exciting opportunities for hunting, fishing, trapping, and recreational use. Approximately 15,000 people travel across the marsh daily, working in the petroleum industry. Yet this vast area can also be a difficult place to locate someone who is lost. In addition to the tremendous size of the area, the marsh is a hostile environment for the average person. If he does not know something about the marsh, he may not survive when trouble occurs. Even the best prepared and most careful person can encounter difficulties in the marsh. Certain precautions, safeguards, and just plain common sense can make the time waiting for the rescue more comfortable and quicker. Equipment required by U.S. Coast Guard regulations is, of course, important and essential. Items such as personal flotation devices, PFDs, and signaling devices for normal boat operations are specified by law, according to the size of the boat. On this trip, the boat hit an underwater obstruction. It's a common cause of many accidents in the marsh. The object could be an old pipeline or tree stump. The victim was thrown in the water. Now notice how his orange PFD is visible at a distance, and the reflective tape he added causes it to be even more easily seen. If the victim of the accident had not managed to get his PFD on, he should look for any object from the boat that might float, such as a tackle box, boat seat, or ice chest. If nothing that floats is available and PFDs are not accessible, a pair of long pants can be used to construct a makeshift flotation device. Tie knots in the bottom of each pants leg, button the button, and zip the zipper. Inflate the pants by placing the pants behind and in back of the head. With the waist up and the legs hanging down, pull the pants over your head as fast as you can to trap the air. When the legs are full of air, pull the belt closed. Put each leg under an arm, and a makeshift PFD is finished. A person in the water should be aware of hypothermia, which can be deadly in a short time. If the wind is blowing at 15 miles per hour and the temperature is 35 degrees Fahrenheit, the wind chill factor is equal to 16 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind causes excessive evaporation of moisture from the human body. As the moisture evaporates, the body temperature falls below the normal 98.6 degrees, causing hypothermia. If the temperature of the water is 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a person is expected to survive from 1 to 6 hours. But with the wind chill factor, survival time is quickly reduced. Since most boats will float even when capsized or swamped, getting in or even partially on the boat in some way will increase the chances of survival. Wearing many layers of clothing will help reduce heat loss in much the same fashion as a wetsuit. If a person falls in cold water, get him out as quickly as possible and warm him up. Take off the wet clothes, and if warm water is available, put his body in the water with arms, head, and legs out of it. If a sleeping bag or blankets are available, put the person with the wet clothes removed in it and have a dry person get in with him to have his body heat help warm the other. If the accident site is close to land, proceed ashore. Otherwise, stay with the boat. It's easier to spot and will speed up the rescue. Once ashore with the boat, secure or anchor it, because your life may depend upon it or its contents later. The accident victim is seeking a dry spot to await rescue. Take a shirt or other piece of cloth and hang it like a flag. This is a distress signal recognized by searchers and persons familiar with survival techniques. An important item for any person going out in the marsh is a supply of plastic garbage bags or a large sheet of vinyl. They can serve numerous purposes, from covering for a tent, being rain gear, serving as a storage container and as a means of obtaining fresh drinking water. The sun is a dangerous threat to the stranded person. A person will die of exposure long before he dies from starvation or thirst. Immediately start seeking shelter. Bushes, plants such as palmetto and mangroves, and sticks can be used to construct a lean-to or tent for shelter from sun and rain. A large pole or branch is stuck up into the ground. A heavy cord is then staked to the ground, tied to the pole, and then pulled to the desired length of the plastic, and staked again to the ground. The plastic is then draped over and staked again. This is a simple A-frame type of tent. Fresh water is essential if the period before rescue is going to be long. A fresh water still, made from plastic sheets and a hole in the ground, will supply a surprisingly large amount of drinking water. For food preparation, light at night, and as a possible signal for searchers, a fire should be built after a shelter is constructed. The best spot to build a fire is upon a platform to keep it dry when the tide rises. The fire will bake and harden the mud. Waterproof matches or magnifying glass can be used to start the fire. The marsh has a rich supply of food if a person knows where to look. String and a hook make fishing possible. If no hook is available, different devices can be made to serve the same purpose. These are forked branches, catfish fins made into hooks by tying together or shoving through a branch or twig, and then tying tightly in place. Pull tabs from soft drink or beer cans. The rings are bent around the hook to secure it. The aluminum is bent into a lure with a hook. The center hook is made to be swallowed, and when the line is pulled, it gets caught in the fish. Another way of catching fish is a tidal trap. Now, it is made by building a wall of grass or sticks to act as a funnel facing in towards the island. As the water rises, the fish will be funneled in. And when the tide falls, the fish will be stranded where they can be picked up or speared. Most edible fish are known to Louisianians. However, be especially cautious of the puffer, the spiny boxfish, and the porcupine fish, which are found in the state's waters and are poisonous if eaten. Also, the stingray and the toadfish can inflict a poison by their barbs or spines, which can result in serious infection or even blood poisoning. The stingray has a barbed spine located on top of the tail, about 1/3 way down from the body. The poison is heat sensitive. The sting area should be soaked in water as hot as a person can stand for at least 30 minutes. This will neutralize about 90% of the venom. Of course, in this situation, as in any instance where a potential danger occurs to the body, see a doctor immediately, if at all possible. Along the shoreline in many places, a stranded person can find oyster reefs, which offer delectable food items. Shrimp are also common in the marsh, depending on the season of the year. Crabs, clams, snails, and mussels are other available seafoods. Small fish can be used as bait for larger fish, or even an alligator, which has several edible parts, including the tail and legs. The animal is protected by law from being killed, but in the situation of the survival of a human life, they can be captured for food. Plants and berries are also good food sources. Several types of berries, including blackberries and dewberries, grow in the marsh. Among the most common edible plants found in the marsh include plantains with young leaves, which can be eaten raw or after steaming the older ones. Cattail heads can be boiled for 20 minutes and eaten like boiled corn. Wild onion, the fruit of the prickly pear cactus. lamb's quarter, whose leaves can be cooked and steamed like spinach. And dandelion leaves are tasty when boiled. Many plants are edible. However, to ensure against eating a poisonous one, there is a simple test to indicate toxicity. Place a small amount in your mouth and chew it well. Hold it in your mouth about 5 minutes. No burning, soapy, nauseating, or bitter taste occurs. Swallow it and wait about 8 hours. If no ill effects occur, repeat the above process. Then, if nothing happens, the plant is edible. As hunters know, waterfowl makes good eating if available. All fur animals such as nutria, raccoon, and muskrat are edible, and the muskrat is not difficult to locate because of his unique mound-like house. A simple snare can be constructed with strings and sticks to catch rabbits and birds. Holes in the ground usually indicate an animal den. When a hole is found, always look for another entrance, for an animal will have an escape hole. Set your snare or trap at each end, or start a fire at one end and wait for the animal to come out the other end. An excellent spot to locate fish is along a drainage system that usually goes to the center of an island. The tidal trap can be built here. Mussels, oysters, and clams can be found along the banks. Raccoons will feed on them. Shorebirds will feed here looking for small crabs, fish, and worms. Animal tracks can be located where they cross the ditch. This will be a good place for a snare. In searching for food, first look to the areas where animals and plants thrive. Then proceed to plan a menu. Not all animals are potentially good for a person lost in the marsh. Mosquitoes, gnats, and greenheads or horseflies can be a real danger. Smoke from a fire will help repel the pesky insects. A hood made from a cap and a handkerchief offer protection on the head and neck. Long-sleeve shirts and pants further protect the body from insect bites. If the insects continue to bite, a mud bag can be applied to the body to keep them away. If a boat is available, the stranded person can move away from land where mosquitoes are much less a problem. Snakes are found in the marsh, and two species are particularly dangerous. The deadly cottonmouth is native to the wet marsh. On high ground, usually along levees, rattlesnakes are a potential danger. Pack an emergency kit to take along on any trip into the marsh. Items should include sunscreen, flares, knives, insect repellent, snake bite kit, a waterproof container that has matches and a compass with a magnifying lens, and signaling devices such as a whistle, mirror, or horn, and make sure the container will float. Small pocket mirrors, or any item with a reflective surface, can serve as a signaling device for potential rescues. The victim has been spotted from his signals by a search plane. The Coast Guard was notified and sent a helicopter to pick up the lost fisherman. The pilots ordered a basket lowered. An important point to remember is never touch the basket until it makes contact with the ground and loses its static electric charge. The electricity buildup by the air friction could add further injury. Then, follow the directions of the rescue personnel. Persons who go into the marsh for commercial or recreational purposes are recommended to enroll in free boating and survival courses sponsored by the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, or the American Red Cross. For more detailed information on the material presented in this film, contact the nearest office of the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries for their free booklet, Survival in the Marsh. And remember, common sense, along with careful preparation, will hopefully preclude the necessity for practicing the survival techniques illustrated in the film. But in the event of an emergency, it is wise to know simple steps can mean saving a human life, especially your own.